I am on a pilgrimage to make marshals in Dungeons & Dragons as good as the casters. So, next on our quest to buff marshals is probably something you were not expecting. New spells. New spells? Are you suggesting these new spells go to the marshals? Nope, they go to the casters. More spell options for casters, Bone Wizard. I thought you said this was a video on how to buff marshals. Oh, casters can take these spells if they wish, but these spells are not that good for the casters because these spells were not made for the casters. They were made for the DM to use against the casters. Let's say you're making a wizard, druid, bard, or sorcerer. What's the most common stat you drop when building those types of characters? Strength. As I said earlier, there is not much incentive to put any points into strength, not when constitution, dexterity, and wisdom are so important, especially for saving throws. Marshals get screwed over so damn hard by not having good wisdom saves. Fail some wisdom saves and you just don't participate in the game, or worse, the DM plays your character for you while you are forced to watch. Oh, you cast Dominate Person on my fighter? Glad you're having fun using my character to stab all my friends. I'll just sit in my cuck chair while you're having all the fun. That's why I gave monks Unwavering at level 7. Every martial class should get an ability to combat these debilitating saving throws. So let's spread the pain a bit. Let's add some spells that hit casters where it hurts. They're strength saving throws.
Oh, a strength saving throw? What's it gonna do? Knock me prone? Push me back 10 feet? I'm so scared.
Sacrifice.
Huh? Who's that? I'm afloated. Who's that? What's happening? Who's it?
As you may know, there are not many effects that require strength saving throws, and the ones that usually do just knock you prone or push you around a bit. Well, why can't a strength saving throw spell be impactful outside of a push? Why can't a strength save spell deal a bunch of damage? Why can't a strength save spell give a big debuff? Why can't a strength save spell tap into dark forces to appease the wicked beings of the underworld? If we want to make the marshals feel strong and powerful, then that means giving them saves that they can beat, and if that also means the wizards fail a few more saving throws with dire results, even better. And these spells are not going to be super annoying for the players. They are still going to meaningfully impact the low strength characters, but not in a way that makes them not able to participate in the game. That would be bad and lazy game design. And don't forget, just because I call these spells does not mean you can't tweak these into abilities for non-spellcasting creatures to use. Let's start really simple with a first level spell, Rock Throw. It's a ranged attack that hurls a rock at a target, does 3d6 bludgeoning damage, and knocks them prone if they fail a strength save. It's like the Earthbenders from Avatar: The Last Airbender. So throw this at the wizard to knock him down, and then send in an orc to give him the people's elbow. At second level, we have Grasping Wind. You conjure winds to pull a target or creature up to 30 feet away towards you. On a successful strength saving throw, nothing happens. On a failure, they take 2d6 bludgeoning damage, are pulled within 5 feet of you, and are grappled by you. Upcasting this spell increases the damage and significantly increases the range of this spell. It also has a fun interaction if the creatures you are pulling smack into others while they are moved by the wind. It is great for making some cinematic moments. And what's a more cinematic moment than using the remains of your enemies in your games of chance? Well, you can't legally do that, but you can pretend to do that with this video's sponsor, D&D Dice. Did the party recently slay a dragon? Then maybe grab these nice dragon scale metal dice. How about a beholder? Well, I think these eyeball dice might do the trick. Did you guys slay Minecraft Steve?
You had a family, you monster. For ripping this poor man away from us, God will judge you.
But I won't, so check out these cool dice. If you want some cool dice and want to support the Bone Wizard channel, use my link and use code BONEWIZARD in all caps at checkout. The link is down below in the description, and again, use code BONEWIZARD at checkout. And thank you to D&D Dice for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to those spells. At third level, we have Strangling Wind. You know that force choke thing that Darth Vader does in Star Wars? This spell is that. While you're being strangled, you cannot breathe, drink potions, speak, or cast spells with verbal components. Imagine if the silence spell followed you and dealt 4d6 damage at the end of each of your turns if you fail a strength save. If you upcast this spell, you target additional creatures. If you are not okay with this spell, but you are okay with Stun and Paralyze, you are a hypocrite. A lot of people defend Stun and Paralyzed, which are conditions that do not let you play the game, by saying it's the entire party's fault for not preparing Lesser Restoration, or it's their fault because no one is playing a class that can access that spell. Also, Lesser Restoration only cures Paralyze, it doesn't cure Stun. And the people I've seen defending Stun and Paralyze, the takes are wild. So instead of defending Strangling Wind, I'm just going to use this callous logic in a segment I like to call Using the Internet's Logic Against the Internet. This dummy didn't prepare any non-verbal spells. Looking like a chump not prepping catapult. Best spell in the game. Best spell in the game. Should have known Darth Vader could have popped up at any moment. It's Anakin Skywalker hours at this table. This is on you. Me and my group don't walk out the door unless we got our ice knives prepared. The coldest, quietest little knives. You gotta have those non-verbal spells. You gotta have them. This chump doesn't even have a light crossbow to use. My passion is victim blaming. For level 4, we got Icy Embrace. It lets you summon ice to encase multiple foes, stunning them with restricting cold. I highly recommend using the changes I made to stun and paralyze for any and all of my homebrew, this spell included. Anyway, it stuns them and deals 1d6 cold damage whenever they fail their strength saving throw at the end of each of their turns. Now you can try to teleport out of the ice, but that ice is so deep it's under your skin, so teleporting will not save you. Sorry, wizard, you should have spent more days at the gym and less days studying books to help you commit new war crimes.
Live large, die large. Leave a giant coffin.
I feel like I have to justify why some of these are strength saving throws or people are gonna jump down my throat. My response to all of those inquiries are as follows. Have you missed the entire point of why I am doing this, you dense, pedantic motherfucker? Okay, why is this a strength save and not a con save? Because you literally need to break out of the ice and rip it off your body before it freezes your flesh. Important PSA, do not touch dry ice with your bare hands. It will hurt you. I almost got frostbite from it, true story. For 5th level, we have Bone Thrasher. Oh, this one's pretty brutal. You release necromantic forces at a creature, which causes the creature's bones to thrash around inside their body against their will. You need to use all of the strength of your muscles to stop the necromantic forces from thrashing around inside your body. If a creature fails their strength saving throw, they start convulsing. Convulsing creatures move half their speed in a random direction at the start of their turn, have disadvantage on attack rolls, and only deal half damage. It's like if all of the bones in your skeleton went on revolt and tried wiggling around to try and escape your body. Sounds pretty bad for our marshals, right? Oh, don't worry, casters have it even worse. The necromantic energy bends and twists their entire body in such a way that it makes them cast spells incorrectly. At the start of a convulsing creature's turn, they expend their highest level spell slot and take 1d6 force damage per level of spell slot expended. The damage is nothing crazy for a 5th level spell. The real reason you use this is to drain casters of spell slots. And considering how few the amount of combats most of you guys have in a day, this might be an effective thing to throw at the wizard.
What did I do to deserve such cruelty?
You were born.
At 6th level, we have Hungry Spirits. It summons a swarm of disembodied jaws to gnaw on your enemies. You need to use your strength to pull as many off of you as you can, lest you sate their ravenous hunger. This is just a spell that deals damage for a turn. It's an instantaneous spell that does 7d10 damage, then it's over. Half damage on a successful save. Having abilities with unique effects is fun, but sometimes you just want something simple. Sometimes I just want to turn my brain off when I'm playing a spellcasting monster. A pizza with pepperoni, Swedish meatballs, and pierogies, plus stuffed crust full of 3 different kinds of cheeses and the lost pieces of the Dead Sea Scroll sounds really good. But I don't want that all the time. Sometimes I just want a turkey sandwich. And turkey sandwiches are fine, they do their job. This is the turkey sandwich of spells. Oh, one neat little thing this spell does is it leaves behind a bunch of jawbones on the floor, so any surviving necromancers could make an animated skeleton entirely composed of jawbones. I call this one Jeremy Crawford. 7th level, Power Word Push.
What does that spell do? Move me back 5 feet? Yeah, really worth the 7th level spell slot, wizard.
You really didn't learn your lesson from the last time, did you?
Well, actually, I'm pretty into it. This kind of debasement is my kink.
For your kinks, I sentence you to death!
What?
Leave a giant coffin.
So what is a push? A push is being shoved by another person. A push is a car smashing into something. A push is a tidal wave leveling a building. A push is a hurricane blowing down an entire town. All these things are push. To speak its true name, the power word, if you will, is to call upon the force and the idea that make up all those things. Every creature in a 100-foot by 20-foot line must make a strength saving throw. On a success, you are A-OK. On a failure, you take 8d6 damage and are pushed back to the end of that 100-foot line. So that's a very far push, but if something comes between you and the end of that line, say a boulder or a sturdy wall, you are going to get squished. For every 10 feet you do not get moved back by because you were stopped by something, you take an additional 1d6 damage. If this spell brings you down to 0 HP, your body is getting liquefied by the extreme and sudden pressure. You turn into jam. This spell is great for pushing people very far away from you, or if the wizard happened to be standing right next to a wall, you can walk your caster right up next to them and deal a total of 18d6 damage. It's a pretty evil thing to do, but maybe today you crave the sweet and salty flavor of death. It's crazy how anyone can speak this single word and it creates such an incredibly destructive force. Now, I would tell you what the power word for push is, but you literally will not be able to understand it if I told you. Like, forces out of your control will render that knowledge impossible to hear. Don't believe me? Fine, I'll tell you the word. The power word for push is... For level 8, we have the spell Sacrifice. If you thought that last spell was evil, then this one is downright diabolical. Like, if you use this spell, your alignment automatically goes to evil. This is the spell I used to make that guy an erupting ketchup geyser. I think for this one, I'm just going to read the text of the spell. You summon a menacing, invisible presence. The presence desires bloodshed. Each creature of your choosing in a 40-foot radius sphere centered on a point you choose must make a strength saving throw. On a success, nothing happens. On a failure, the creature becomes a sacrifice. The sacrifices ominously float 1 foot into the air and take 10d10 necrotic damage as their blood erupts from their body like a fountain. As the sacrifice's blood floats in the air, you may choose to give a blessing to a creature you can see by dousing them in a sacrifice's blood. You have as many blessings to give out as you have sacrifices. A creature who receives a blessing grants temporary hit points equal to half the amount of damage a sacrifice took. Creatures that are brought to 0 HP by this spell die. So if you have a big bad evil guy with his goon squad of evil minions, he can take all of those peasants, the PC's family members, the sad little orphans he's been collecting, and summon something from somewhere to squeeze all of the juice out of them like a lemon. Then he just spreads the juice on his goons. Now he and his team are ready to fight a freshly traumatized party. Before we get to the 9th level spell, if you are enjoying the video so far, consider liking and subscribing, and leave a comment. I respond to those. Any comments help, even the ones where people just slap their keyboards. And if you want to support me more directly, I got a Patreon where you can get all the buffs I made for these videos early, like Alchemist Artificer, which has 13 pages of potions, poisons, and bombs in a crafting table that I made, and completely original stuff like Stone Sorcerer and over 100 unique magic items. So consider checking that out. All right, now let's get to the good stuff. 9th level spell. The kid gloves are off. I'm done holding back. I cut the brake lines and I'm stepping on the gas and I am aiming this car directly at the wizard. The other spells were brutal, but this one is just mean. It is Bully the Wizard O'Clock and this spell is his swirly. This spell is called Bands of Doom. This spell summons 10 magical talking iron bands that bring only misery and woe. The bands appear on your target's body. The creature must make a strength save. On a success, the bands chastise the creature for not accepting this kind gift of jewelry, and the creature takes 8d6 psychic damage.
You're stupid and fat.
On a failure, the bands tightly secure themselves onto the creature and are considered worn by the creature. So you're not misty stepping out of this one either. Each of the 10 bands give -1 to all rolls the creature makes, -10 in total. Additionally, any DC the creature has is lowered by the number of bands they have on their body. That's a cool DC 19 spell save you got there. It would be a shame if it went down to DC 9. Fireball? Everyone's gonna succeed to take half damage. Save or suck spells? Yeah, they're just suck spells now. Spell attacks like Crown of Stars or Scorching Ray? Does a +1 to hit work? Your familiar has a better chance to hit than you do, you dusty, crusty fossil. Oh man, that is pretty bad. How long does this spell last? 1 year. And don't worry, this spell doesn't require Fire Concentration. If you want to be really mean, cast this on the wizard and then cast Heat Metal. I love the smell of deep fried nerd in the morning. As you are getting cooked alive, you might be wondering, how do I get these bands off my body? Well, you can use your action to try and remove some being the key word here. If you succeed a strength saving throw, you remove 1d4 bands. Not all of them. I told you this was going to be a mean spell. It's a 9th level spell. We gotta be on the same level as Wish and Meteor Swarm. Now, some of you might be thinking you can get out of this with a good casting of Dispel Magic. Yeah, Dispel Magic at 9th level would work, or use a 3rd level spell slot and try and beat the spellcasting check. A normal DC to beat is, what, around 19 or so? What is your spellcasting ability modifier? Plus 11? You mean plus 1, right? Okay, good luck rolling an 18 or higher. Oh, you did get an 18? Great! You dispel the magic of one object within the spell's range. Object. Singular. You dispel one of the 10 individual bands that are on your body. But I am a generous bone wizard / swirly giver. I'll add this bit to the spell. If you cast Dispel Magic or end your turn in an anti-magic field, not all of the bands fall off. However, it causes 1d4 of the bands to fall off.
Why are you being so mean to the wizards? You are a wizard yourself.
I am nothing like you. We are not the same.
You side with the dirty, weak barbarians and monks. You don't deserve the title of wizard if you sympathize with such dull creatures.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said that, because other creatures can help you remove some of the bands. So I hope you're in a good standing with the strong members of your party, because if not, perish. And if you want the marshals to be even stronger against this spell, you can have it so you can replace an attack roll with removing some of the bands. So if you have 2 attacks in one round, you can make 2 attempts to remove 1d4 bands. Now, I could go over how to still be effective in combat when you are a caster and have the Bands of Doom attached to you, like using buff spells or using summon spells. I could do that. Or, this chump didn't even have a summon prepared. If you complain, you're just softening the game. Dungeons and Dragons is a hardcore game for grown-ups. The only thing you can conjure is bad decisions. An elemental spirit could have fought for you. He doesn't know how to properly play the game. Doesn't know a damn thing. Everyone knows you should always have haste prepared. This boomer can't even work around some tacky jewelry. You should have had a better team comp. Could have polymorphed his buddy into a T-Rex. Oh, you don't like it? Then I guess we should get rid of every bad thing from the game then, huh? You should just check your email while you can't do anything. So those are 9 strength saving throw spells you can add to your game. And again, they don't have to be spells. You can reflavor any of these as abilities. An ice dragon or a frost giant could spew out freezing breath that acts like Icy Embrace. A big monster could breathe in so deeply and so powerfully it could act like Kirby's suction ability, which could emulate Grasping Wind. Power Word Push could just be reflavored as punting someone really hard into a wall.
Nice try, puppy!
Maybe these spells are too strong for your liking. Maybe you think these spells are not strong enough. The Bands of Doom now deal damage over time as well as slowly replace your blood with mustard. I thought you loved mustard, Steven. Are you happy now? Are you? If you were going to take anything away from this section, consider maybe adding some strength saving throws to your games that are a bit more impactful than just being pushed back a bit. I think these spells can be challenging, but still bring some fun. But some spells in base D&D are just not fun. So next week, we are going to talk about the problem spells of Dungeons & Dragons. Shoutouts to the patrons, Panko6, Beefmaster, Nolin46, Luna Bruner, Manifestering, Spark Drake, Alex Score, Christopher Cook, Edboy, Foosro Dog, Hayden Tistamber, James Spear, Mr. Nobody 13, Naima Maori, Owen Hansen, Pat Hughes, PK Hemi, Poggers Extreme, Seth Newall, Volum, Wet Toaster, Zachaloon, Xander3, and Zapforth. Thank you guys so much, you are all the best.